Today we're chopping it up with the one and only Joe Manjarrez. All right, man. I'm here with Joe Manjarrez. It's always a fun time with this guy. How you been, man?
I've been good, bro. You?
Good, man. Thank you for asking. Quick question: how did you get into real estate?
A lot of my buddies, man. I mean, I don't, I don't think someone wakes up in the morning and said, oh, "I'm gonna be a real estate agent." I think it's one of those things where you just kind of just fall in by accident. You just end up, either getting out or staying in forever. But
So, it was friends that were in the industry.
yeah,
Okay.
a lot of my friends.
What were you doing before that?
I was a trial paralegal for about 11 years for a criminal defense firm out of Downey. Yeah, I was in law school for 2 years. That's what I wanted to do, and I just stumbled upon this just because I was seeing a lot of people making money. But I came into it about a year and a half before the market crashed, like in '06.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you were studying for law?
Yeah, I was in law school for about 2 years.
Oh, shoot. Where'd you go to?
It's called Pacific Coast University of Law in downtown Long Beach, or going towards downtown Long Beach.
You're from Long Beach, aren't you?
Yeah.
Born in Long Beach?
No, raised in Long Beach.
Raised in. Where are you from?
Where was I?
Yeah, where?
What gang or what?
No. Of course.
Hitting
not.
me up?
You'll go there
No,
too.
I was like, oh,
Where's
Yeah.
your family from?
Guadalajara, Jalisco, Veracruz, y Campeche.
Nice.
My mom's side is Mexicali in Guadalajara,
You.
and my dad is Veracruz and Campeche.
Oh, cool. Are you from Mexico? Or?
Yeah, Guadalajara. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So you got here. How old were you when you came?
Like one,
Okay.
illegal
That's
and
what's
one. One and illegal.
Juan and Illegal. See, I can tell this guy. You'll take those jokes any day. So raised in Long Beach.
Yeah.
And then you went through that era where almost a lot of us went through, right? Where Long Beach wasn't probably where it's at. Where, like, you see Long Beach nowadays,
Yeah.
it's so hipster, very nice, up and coming.
Yeah.
So you went to high school there? What high school did you go to?
No, I went to junior high for a little bit, and then I ended up actually not even into high school because I ended up getting arrested. I was a ward of the court for about, I think, till I was like I emancipated when I was 16, 17 because I became part of the system when I was like 11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was not doing too well in the streets. Yeah. So
So you got out there. What made you? I guess I have to ask this question from that grind, right? Everybody calls it. You put that into place to work in real estate.
mhm.
We call it as the hustle, the grind. Do you see any perks you got from that, and now you apply it in real estate?
Just that sometimes there's no second options. Either you do it or you don't. So I think it's really being in a position where if you say try or if you consider something being a second option, then you kind of prepare yourself for failure, saying, okay, it's okay. But so there's times when your back's up against the wall, and it's kind of like there is really no second alternative, really. So.
What made you go into law? Is it because of your background?
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that always interests me. I was always very good in being analytical research, and it was really the criminal side of it that I wanted to be part of. And I wanted to get into law to do criminal defense, not really to do prosecution. So it just became I just ended up gravitating towards it, and just ended up. I was always good at, like I said, research and analyzing, and I was always just.
Yeah, and it reflects through your real estate part. I just saw you pick up a phone call,
Yeah.
and you were asking a lot of questions in this industry. It's called the pre-qual,
Yeah.
right? In that law, in that department, that field, you do have to ask a lot of questions in order to prepare yourself.
As a matter of fact, when I first started there, it was an attorney, Patrick. He came from San Diego, and I was basically his closer. When he came down, he was only making about 95, 98. And even though my job was as a paralegal, but he would put me actually to do the intake, to meet with the clients. Because kind of like here, you know how like when a seller goes, they're interviewing with different agents. Well, over there, if it was, and we would get these high-profile cases, and it was literally like a lot of them were drug cases, and some of them would even come on the news. And their families would go from office to office, believe it or not. And this same type of network that we have in real estate here, attorneys have it the same way. So especially the big attorneys, they know who's the big hitters. They know who's doing the Fed cases, who's doing the state cases, who's doing the drug cases. So a lot of times, if it was a big case, we kind of knew they were interviewing us, and we kind of knew. We would ask them, are you going to be talking to any other law firms, attorneys? And they'll say, yeah. They'll drop a name, In this case, there was this guy named Gil out of the Wilshire district. So our office and their office were really good. So it was so I was a forefront, and it was kind of like they were offering me bonuses. Like if you land this client, we'll give you a bonus on top. So I took them from making, at that time it was a lot of money. Took them from making like 95, 100 to about 300-400K a year. A lot of it was from the intake. So from the intake process. But I was also responsible for doing motions and doing research and all that discovery, because 95% of the cases that we handled were criminal. So I dealt,
So you went from that, and then you land into this real estate game,
Yeah.
right? Who or what got you into say, let me look into this field, or when did you hear? You know how you say you landed upon it, right?
When I was taking 30, 35, 45-minute lunches, and I would go with my friends that were doing real estate, and they would take, honestly, I probably shouldn't say this, but they were taking 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, and then I would see how much money they were making. And I remember one time one of my buddies, he owned a financial or a lending, basically a broker's office on Florence. And I remember I showed up there, and he goes, hey, we'll go to lunch right now. I goes, but I want to show you something. And he had like 3 or 4 files on his desk. So like, I'm making 11,000 on this one, 15,000 on this one, 20,000. So when he started showing me the numbers that he was making, I was impressed. And then all of a sudden, 30 minutes later, I had to rush back to the office because my break was up, and these guys were making money. And a lot of times I think we get into it for the wrong reasons, even though money is, I think when we get into real estate, it's not really, I think it's kind of cliche when people say, oh, I'm in it to help families. But I think for me, at least when I got in, it was really for the money, right? Now it's really for the purpose and because I love it. But I think like that's what I said. I don't think anyone wakes up and says, oh, I want to be a real estate agent today. I think it's just something that we kind of just
A lot of people
fall
have
into. Yeah.
that background, right? Like, you just want to get in, and then eventually, what I mean by you get in because of the money, it drives you.
Well, they say
Some people see the
sometimes
sign,
they
right?
say that real estate is kind of like you getting here because your dreams were crushed. You couldn't. What else do I do? You know what I'm saying?
Let me go sell some houses.
Yeah,
right?
let's go sell some houses, see what it goes. So I don't
Instead
think,
of sending some other stuff.
yeah, so I don't think anyone really wakes up and says, "Oh, I want to be a real estate agent today," But yeah,
You're taking your classes while you're still doing law, I'm
Yeah.
assuming, right?
Yeah.
And did you start part time, or you just went?
no, it was my back. I got fired. Really,
Oh, damn.
I was going in late. I just didn't care. Just got to the point where just.
Is it because you were already falling in love with the business?
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
was just, I just needed a matter of fact. I was getting there late. I just didn't give a shit anymore, right? Honestly, I didn't feel like I was appreciated because I was closing a lot of business for them. I was, with a lot of clients, I was just overworked, man. I was doing the motions. I was doing the paralegal side of it, but then they also had me, meeting with the clients. A lot of times,
You were just over it at that moment.
a lot of times the attorney wouldn't meet with the clients if I wasn't there, right? But
So while this is happening, you're already looking
well, yeah, I
at,
got fired. Then I was like, what am I gonna do?
wait, but when this is going on, you already saw the money. And you
Oh
see
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So they're like, okay, this is
Yeah.
my exit strategy.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went where? I mean, I'm assuming you passed the test. What office did you start? I mean, if you could.
That's some Florence one that's not even around anymore. The broker's actually a friend of mine. But he's still around. But yeah, I mean, I just went to some small pops. There was about 8, 10 of us there, and no disrespect, really no guidance or whatever.
You're just
Yeah,
straight grinding.
yeah,
Yeah. It's trippy because I think I heard you say that once in a meeting. You did mention someone, and you paid him like your respects. Like, if it wasn't for this individual,
Yeah.
I learned a lot. Took you to that level.
yeah,
And now what people see, right? They see the Manjarrez group. So now they see, shout out to your son Anthony. I think he's doing a phenomenal job
Yeah.
with everything you're doing. Obviously, he's adding to that. How did he get involved, Anthony? Is this something that
But
again?
no, it was he wasn't doing too good in school. So before school ended, we asked him, when he was in high school, what are you gonna do? And his grades weren't up to par to get any scholarships. Financial aid really wasn't gonna cut it because his mom and I, we make way too much money to even get financial aid. So we were gonna probably pay out of pocket. And he straight said, if you guys want to pay for me to go, because we were thinking about putting him in Cal State Fullerton, paying, right? And he was like, if you guys want to waste your money, that's fine, I'll go, but you're going to waste your money. I hate school. And his mom calls me up and she goes, I'm not going to pay for him to go. So I was willing to pay it all on my own. But finally, he was like, I want to try real estate, and
Were
he
you
got in.
receptive of that, or were
I
you?
didn't think he was gonna. I didn't think he was gonna do good because it just even his mom. His mom's who's more direct than I am. She told him, she goes, I don't think you have the personality. I don't think you have the persona to deal with people. You're too dry. Basically, she told him, and I believe the same shit. I wasn't gonna tell him that. His
Hey,
mom's
Anthony, I always
more.
believed in you, bro.
No, it's like no, I didn't fucking believe in him. You know what I'm saying? I'll be honest. I didn't believe in him, but yeah. So, yeah, he had to build his, he had to really master it to become a people person. Because I think there's some of us that are just naturally, uh, to we could blend in, we could become that. What do you call that? Chameleon,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
The actor that they say they have to be, right, in sales. Not him. He had to. So I
Really
commend him
work.
more on it. He had to work more to, which I give that more of a credit because I think for you to learn that skill, it's a little, it's a little tougher, right? So, but I think I give him more credit than what I give myself because he had to learn it, and a lot of people don't learn it. It's a hard trait to
If
learn.
if they see both of you, you guys are totally the opposite.
Yeah,
That guy's an introvert,
yeah,
and you're loud,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
you could even see it on your dress codes.
yeah, yeah,
He's dark
yeah,
colors, and you could be obviously loud with some colors.
yeah,
But it goes with your personality. Not
yeah,
that I'm saying it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying you could tell you're more of a person that expresses versus him. He's more
yeah,
an introvert. But I didn't meet him that way. I just met
yeah,
him as the way he's been. I think I met him 2 years ago now,
yeah,
a year and a half.
yeah,
And I mean, I've seen that kid develop. To
yeah,
be honest with you, and I think you've done a phenomenal job with him. So shout out to Anthony. Maybe we'll get him and talk crap about you next time.
yeah.
We'll get his point of view on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what made you create a team? Because not a
Well,
lot of people do that, right?
well, I think it's funny because when I did it, I told people this industry is going to gear more towards teams. I said it. I would tell when
How long ago was that?
this was about 7, 8 years ago, and this
Okay.
was I was actually there was already teams in our office, but not a lot. And I knew that, but I seen this is where this industry is going to go, and the reason it is because we live in an industry of now. We live in an industry of instant gratification, right? If I'm working 3, 4, 5 clients, say I'm working 3 or 5 sellers, I have three or five other buyers that want things now, that want attention
Hmm.
now. I can't attend to all that. Customer service is going to drop, and that's what started happening. I started losing. People. We live in a world of now, right?
Hmm.
So in order to meet that expectation, I needed to start building a team because I was losing business. And I
You
just
said
ended
this
up
was 7 years
about
ago.
7, 8 years ago. Yeah, this was like it's funny because when I came up with the name, when I built the name, the Manjarrez Group, that was at that time. I don't remember, a lot of people were like Team Flores, Team this, Team that. I didn't like that because it sounded more like a UFC type shit, right? Like team things. It really wasn't like. So now, I got my name. If you really think about it, I have to take credit for it. I'm not gonna lie. I got group. I was one of the first groups around here. Then you started seeing more groups. Where I got my name, they leave success. They say success leaves clues, right? So I got my name from the Anderson Group, which is a big real estate team out of Keller Williams now. I think they're Keller Williams or EXP now. They were Keller Williams at one point. It's a huge the Anderson Group, and I'd be honest, I copy them because I didn't want to be, I didn't want partners in my name. I didn't want team in my name. I wanted group,
So
so I got it from him.
I'll share something with you. I have the signs in my house. I think this was 2000 and damn, I might say 10.
Hmm.
And if I show you those signs, you're gonna laugh. I have this
Yellow.
yellow and red,
Yeah.
but mine was just Team Guerra. And I got this. I don't know if I went to a seminar. I had no team, but I just put Team Guerra so the perception was I had a team.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember taking a marketing class, and
Hmm.
there was one thing that the speaker said is that if you think about Vegas, what's the one thing that pops up besides obviously the casinos?
Women?
Well, yeah, besides the women, right? I said from the very get go, rated R. But then he talked about colors, and I'm like, oh, that's right, McDonald's, Wendy's, you get it. And I'm like, oh, I was right around that time I'm doing my open house signs, and I did the same thing. And I know who's actually took off with that. I've seen some signs. I'm like, oh, that's cool. when I saw yours, I didn't know you back then. I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's got like I've always said great minds think alike, right? It's
Yeah.
an old saying. But I didn't know you back then. When I saw your signs one time, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I never once said, oh, because I always said not a lot of people think like that. And I have those signs, but mine did say Team Guerra. You went group.
But
I didn't know that.
I didn't start to build. I didn't come up with those colors until like 2012.
I did it back in
I think
2010.
2012, 2000. Yeah.
I have my. I
And the
had
reason
like
I came
20
with this
signs.
because I just wanted it to stand out. Now, I mean, I even get calls and text messages from people saying, "Hey, I saw your sign over here." A lot of times, it's not even us, but because of the color. See, statistics show that I believe it's people now when you get so when I don't want to say go big, but when people know you, like for instance, they identify you by your color now before even your name.
Okay.
So when you get to that level, like when people just pass by and just see the colors, and all of a sudden your brand recognition comes to their mind,
Especially if
that must be them.
you've been doing so much business
Yeah.
there. Because now, that's true. You drive by and I think not too long ago I saw your signs. I'm like, oh, he's out here. But it is true because you naturally see
You won't
the
even look
color.
at the name sometimes.
No,
You don't
you
know.
would just assume because especially if you've been branding there,
Yeah.
and you're big on branding.
Yeah.
You're big,
Huge.
big on social media when it comes to like Google
Mhm.
things like that, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and you're not afraid to share your secrets.
Nah. No, I told everyone Google is like I think it's like 92%. They have 92% market share. So the question is why wouldn't you be on Google? I think I think it's big right now, and I think it's here. I think it's here to stay.
Hmm.
I mean, I got just from Google right now in a period of
Yeah,
less than 15 minutes. I got 2 calls straight from Google.
yeah. You got one
Um,
solid lead.
One solid lead. Yeah.
One solid lead.
So Google's where it's at.
Okay. One thing that I always see you doing is gravitate, and you here and there I notice you pass on a lot of your knowledge to the young agents that are coming in.
Mhm.
Why is that?
I mean, it's number one because I don't think when I first number one two things. Number when I first joined, there wasn't really that. I remember when I first joined, there were people like, "I'm going to show you the ropes. I'm going to show you the ropes," and nothing. I was just a body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to really find on my own. And then number two, because I picture I picture my son, or especially when it's a girl, my daughter. I'm like, I would want someone to be able to consult them and give them the information, right? So I always picture what if that was not me, but what if that was someone part of me, right?
Yeah.
What if that was my
Someone-
son or my daughter and stuff? So
One
you
of
know,
one of the guys that's in your group, and I was sorry to interrupt you. It's they came up to me, drop your name. I said, hey man, yeah, I mean the guy I have.
oh
the
my
guys-
my the Filipino brother,
Yeah.
the Asian brother,
Gabriel.
yeah, Gero. Yeah.
And he asked me nicely. I mean, I mean, I knew what he was doing here, and I noticed because of his past, he had asked about certain groups, and for whatever reason, we're not here to talk about that. But he brought you up, and I said, hey man, all I'm gonna ask you is don't go waste his time.
Yeah, he told me that. He told me that.
And I said, but go in there with your blinders, like be coachable, and then give yourself a space. I mean, and then him tell you, because at the end of
Yeah.
the day, be the best version of yourself. But he's gonna also tell you things to do, and don't take it personal
Yeah.
because he could be blunt. He's like, I'm okay with that, and I know you guys talk,
Yeah.
and I've seen him grow. He sent me a nice message the other day. I said, continue going, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you're learning from the same
Yeah.
thing. I mean,
Yeah, I think he's already closed. I don't know. He's already closed. I think he's already closed a couple.
yeah. I think he
And
opened
he
up
has a
third
I think
one,
he had,
going on a fourth.
yeah,
And then I
Work.
just told him, hey man, so when you take me out to eat?
yeah, yeah.
I do want to actually.
He said In and Out. I was like, dude, you better take it. I was like Del Rey. I was like, In and Out's cheap, bro. It's like,
I always play around with them. Like, just take me to In and Out, man.
yeah,
And that's what I mean. Like, I'm going back. I reference back. There, you notice that people like him are thankful, right?
yeah,
Like you see them grow.
yeah.
Is there something that you look for in agents like that? That you say, man, I don't get a vibe from this, but I get a vibe from them, or is it
Yeah,
you just
it's-
give everybody?
No,
like,
no, no, no. Now it's crazy because like 2 days ago I was on one of the team members because I seen him wasting his time a little bit, and I go, all due respect to our clients, but I go, we get paid on how we manage our time, and we're not here to, I don't want to say do charity work, but we're here to make a difference in people's lives, and we're here to help the ones that want to help themselves and that we can help. So it has to be someone that's like you, like you're a coach, coachable, right? You have to be coachable, and you have to take, because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, and I was getting on this person, right? And my son had to step in. He was like, dude, he's like, you're being too
Chill.
rough. And I'm like, look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, right? I can't sugarcoat it. And the guy said, thank you. He goes, this is what I need. So Anthony's a little bit more passive, a little bit more like he coaches them, and a little bit more, hey, he'll ask more questions. See, the thing that I have a trouble in and that I need to get better is asking questions to get the result that I want. To me, I'm more like, hey, this is what the fuck you got to do. If you don't do it, this is gonna be the consequences, right? Like, for instance, when I became a dad, like, I didn't have a father figure to tell me, and I think that's where it comes from. I didn't have a father figure to tell me the good and the bad, right? The pros and the cons. I didn't have a father figure to guide me and say, hey, this, if you do this, do this. I didn't have no one to show me the positive attributes. Basically, my life was like, if you do this, this is the consequences, right? So I think that's kind of
So
what the way I am with people is like, look, dude,
it's
I'm
that
not gonna,
void.
yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say, dude, you know what? This is what the fuck you got to do, and these are the consequences if you fuck up. This is what it's gonna be. I'm not gonna sit there and sugarcoat it anything. Oh, mijo, it's not. I didn't
And
grow up with that, so
only a few people could take that tough love.
yeah,
Only a few, right?
yeah,
Um, yeah, a lot of people are not receptive to that.
yeah.
A lot of people aren't. Uh, is that why you always ask for a hug?
Wow, dude, I need
I,
that from you
I had
from
to throw that
everybody
in
else. You know what I'm
there.
saying? Give me a hug. Give a little squeeze. You know.
Man, you are one. I want to make sure I point this out. I'm pretty sure you got this. There's never a dull moment around you. Like, we're in an office meeting, bro, and you're like the loud one on the side, distracting people or
I can't
doing
sit,
something. You can't sit still, huh?
bro. That's
Bro, like, if I see you from one side of the corner, I'm like, let me ignore this guy today because I already know you're gonna distract me.
yeah.
Right? It's never a dull moment with you. But if you're not there, then you're like, where's Manjarrez at? Like, you need someone like a Manjarrez, right? But that's the difference between you and your son. That I think he's more of the mediator, calm. You're more of the, like, very straight out. Have you noticed that that's a good balance in your team?
No, it is. Yeah, it is. No, you need that. You need that. Yeah, because sometimes I'm just like,
Have
you
you
know,
guys ever? And I gotta ask because
yeah,
by the way, he calls you Joe.
yeah.
He
No,
doesn't
because I'm
call you
told my
Dad.
office. No, when I'm at the office, don't call me that. I'm Joe.
Is that something you guys when he came in?
Yeah, I told him that. Yeah, I believe I did. Yeah,
But at home, it's like,
yeah, dad. Yeah, yeah.
do you have to remind, hey, man, I'm your dad here. What are you doing?
I said, no, not really. I mean, see, he knows. He knows. But yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah,
when you walk in, Joe,
yeah,
hey Joe, and I remember the first time I heard that, I'm like, bro, that's your dad, right? But then I'm like, okay, the switch turns on,
yeah,
and I think you guys both identify that.
yeah.
Have you guys ever clashed
Oh, absolutely.
every day?
Not every day, but often.
How often,
Often.
man?
Fuck, at least a couple times a week.
See, I already know, bro.
Yeah,
When you be honest, bro, is it more than 5?
I'd say at least. No, I'd say probably at least three times throughout the week. But yeah, it's just we're different. We're alike in many ways, but then we're different. Yeah,
Is he
yeah.
more like the mom or?
No, he's more kind of like the calm guy that ask questions and see, get. He'll sit there. If someone's having an issue with it, he'll sit there and try to get to the root to the problem by asking questions. He knows.
He's definitely not like you,
Yeah,
bro.
asking questions. I'm like, I know what the fuck the problem is, dude. Let me tell you what the fuck the problem is. That's how I am. I'm like, I know what the problem. Let's just get to it. I don't got time.
You're a driver.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
a driver.
yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah.
How do you see the future, man, for the next 10 years? How do you see the Maharis? What's in the horizon for you?
I mean, I get bored so easily that I can't see myself parting ways ever really. I think I always want. I think eventually he is going to take over, but I'm not really. I don't. I think I'll probably but it's not going to be anytime soon. I would get bored at home. Even when I go on, if I take a vacation 5 days, I mean after 4 or 5 days I want to come back. I can't stay anywhere too long, so I can't really foresee myself.
Do you see
You know.
yourself? I mean, I know eventually like you said, he'll grow with it. But do you see yourself doing some other ventures in the near future besides real
No,
estate?
I mean, just like anybody else, buy rentals, flips if they come about, and just, there's a couple of things that I'm in talks because it's gonna come out crazy, but I do a lot of what we call the hypnosis. I do a lot of writing
Hmm.
on the side, so there's that. But you know, wherever it goes, man. I mean, I feel that there's more to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a big believer in God, so right now I'm in the middle of like praying, trying to see. There's things that I want to do. There's things that I have desire, but it's not in my timing. So I don't know if it's ever gonna be. But I mean, yeah, there's other things that I definitely want to do.
That's cool, man. I think we all. I think it was about 2 months ago, and you said, "Hey, man, sometimes you got to create some static in this damn industry."
Yeah,
And then you're like, "Cause," and it was I don't know. I took it as a compliment, like, bro, you're always very cool on social media, yada yada. He's like, but, and this is what you said straight out to me. He's like, "Hey, man, fuck that. Let's talk about the commission, da 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 da, and da da da." And you said sometimes you got to create the little static, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. Remember you called me
yeah,
on that,
yeah.
and I'm laughing on the background. And then he said, "Bro, you have to, and I'm okay to talk about it." Do you remember that conversation?
It was that, but we also talked about other stuff about how social media is so fake sometimes. That part.
And you, and I wasn't disagreeing with you, by the way, right?
Yeah.
And then you said it's
Now it's gonna
fake.
get interesting.
You said it's fake.
Yeah.
And I said, well, perception.
Perception sells, but see, this is a thing that when you and I grew up, let's be honest, right? You know how we grew up. So when we grew up, if someone says that they've done certain things, people want to verify it, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like if like
Yeah.
hey, and this one thing that I teach my team and my son is like, don't be so quick to believe everything that you see on social media, right? I can go and buy a car or rent a car, right? And say that I'm doing this, doing that, but I'm really not. So I just think that we live in a world that's really like shallow and really fake. And I think that I don't want to get too much into it, but I think that that's part of people's depression because we're always comparing ourselves, right? It seems like almost like you, I could say, and I don't want to get into that, but it's like since you started doing a lot and recruiting a lot, you have like a target in your back, right? And I mean, let's call it, but so the thing is that, I think that we're so in competition because we see so much stuff out there, which a lot of it's fake, but we're always trying to compete with things that I think that when we're trying, this is why we're so unsatisfied, because when we see people, we're always trying to compete and be better than everybody else, right? So we're always chasing what's not really us. We're always chasing to be better, try to compete against, say that I'm competing against you. Once I beat you, then I'm going to find someone else to compete about. I'm always going to be chasing. I'm never going to be satisfied.
Do you think?
But if I focus on
Yeah,
my own and
yeah.
what I got to grow in, then I know it's just about me. It's like I'm okay. I come to the realization that, you know what, I'm okay this year. I didn't do that good. Because I know I got a target on my back. I know a lot of people try to outdo what I'm doing, and it's not about that.
You said-
Like I've said it before.
You said something nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. It's something that I said nice because
Yeah.
you said something very key once to me, privately, and then you said it publicly. You said, "I'm here chasing a 10-year goal," and then you said, "Not yearly." I was like, and that's when I knew, like, all right, this guy, and I meant, when you were speaking, I'm like, I know where this guy's going with it. He has a 10-year goal. And I'm like, I know where he's going with it because everybody's gonna have ups, downs, but you're playing the long game.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
you could
Right.
beat me now. You could beat me this year. But the thing is,
But I want to make sure that people don't misunderstand that quote.
Yeah.
You're competing with yourself,
exactly.
and you're doing the long game, right? Period. And I think it goes back to the perception on social media, right? And I mean, do you think that's when people don't know their own purpose
Yeah.
because they're chasing that carrot? And I remember we were talking about it. I did tell you, I'm like, it's interesting because you brought some stuff up, and I said, well, I know what I'm doing. I know my purpose. I'm not here. It had to take a lot for me to also put the blinders on, not follow many people. And I'm like, look, whoever I follow, sometimes perception is I am on social media, but really I'm really not on social media. You see me post, and I just put my blind, but I know what I'm doing. And I think that's what you were talking about too, that we had that topic, and
Yeah.
you were like, bro, why'd you talk about that? I'm like, you're trying to give me a bigger target on my back, and you just
No,
start laughing, right?
yeah.
But we had a good discussion that
Yeah.
day. We had a very good discussion that day, and but it's that, to your point, that's what you were talking about, because people always compete with other people, but they never really know their own purpose.
Well, they don't. When you're doing that, like I said, if I compete against you, say I beat you on whatever we're competing, then I'm gonna find someone else. So I'm always gonna be chasing it. When at the end of the day, I should have been really focused on myself. And this is why I say, you could beat me today, you could beat me tomorrow, you could beat me this year. But the point is, are you gonna beat me 10 years from now? Are you gonna outlast me? That's really what it's. I'm in this. I'm in this for the long haul, right? I understand that I know that I'm really good at what I do, but I'm not the best. There's always gonna be someone better than me.
Yeah.
And
And you know what? There's people out there that would play the long game with you.
Yeah.
And kudos to them, right? Much love, much props. But I knew when you said that to me once, we had a private conversation. And you said, I'm playing the long game. We were having like an in-depth conversation.
and I think
We were in Irvine.
there's yeah, we got
We were in
yeah.
Irvine. And then you said, we were literally talking, because I was asking you, I was really picking your brain that day. I'm like, man, I'm playing the long game, bro.
I think there's a Simon Sinek. He's look him up.
Yeah, I know who he
There's-
is.
And he talks about the infinite game, right? He
Mhm.
talks about, for instance, he said this, and this is what stuck to me. He said that he went. Check this out. He went basically in a nutshell. He went to a convention, a business convention of Microsoft. Microsoft. Check this
Yes.
one out. Check this one out. Microsoft's convention was, how do we beat Apple? How do we come up with the next, not iPad, but sort of like I forgot. How do we beat Apple? Apple. How do we beat them? When he went to the Apple convention, it was all about how do we bring value to the marketplace? How do we make it easier
Mhm.
and for the teachers to be able to teach their students? So their focus was on bringing value for them to the marketplace instead of who they're going to outbeat. They weren't even concerned, and look where they're at now, right? Not that Microsoft's not big. Apple is just,
They didn't.
Yeah. And so and it's just it's bigger. So when you look at that, that's why I say it's like, I'm like, you could beat me, like it doesn't. And I've said it before in meetings. You could have number one, doesn't mean shit to me. Number one of what, right? So it means absolutely nothing to
Yeah,
me.
but I think,
Yeah.
just want to make sure, like, you're competing with yourself.
Yeah.
That's what you really are. Because I know I had this conversation with you privately, and you were like, bro, you were telling me your goals, right? And that's why I asked you earlier, what's in it for the Mahanis group? And you told me that straight out. Like, man, I'll be honest, I want my son to take over.
Yeah. No.
And
Yeah.
I want- and I'm
Absolutely.
setting them up to the longevity, because
And this is why I'm building the brand, because check this out, when I came up with, and respect to those that have the first names, that have the first names in their business, right? I could think like of big husband and wives right now, or
Yeah.
I could think of that have their first names. But the reason I also went with my last name is because anyone from my team could go to the appointment. My son could go to the appointment. It's not I set it up to where I want someone else to take it. care in the
oh, okay,
future.
so that's
So that's why it's the Manjarrez group.
Okay.
It's not Joe Manjarrez, whatever. It was so that's why I set it up for him to take over
got it.
at a later time. Or even if I have an appointment that I can be there with the client and say my son can either, one of my team goes, well, he's part of the team, right?
Okay,
He's part
got
of,
it.
so
Understand.
so that's why I set up that. But that's why I'm huge on Google, and I'm big on building the brand.
Yeah.
Because I think especially with the way things are going now, with the whole NAR settlement and everything, I think really it's going to come down to who has a name out there, right? A name that people could trust, actually.
I sat down with you. We went over the numbers when the buyer broker agreement.
Yeah, yeah,
And you looked at the number you left on the table. You looked at me, and I'm like,
yeah.
you're like, hey, bro, I have to take you to a steak. I'm like, bro, no, you need to buy me a car. Look
Yeah.
how much money you left on the
No, yeah, no,
table,
we're doing
right?
that, yeah. So
And
now,
you were
now
like,
we're
oh,
doing that.
shoot.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I've seen you now apply that.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Hey, man, you've done a lot. Mad props to you. I mean, I think people recognize you in the industry, especially here in our area. So mad kudos. Continue killing it out there. I always have to ask these questions at the end.
Yeah.
So, why should people respect the hustle in the real estate game? Because I think a lot of people skip that. But why should they respect it?
The real estate game, because not everyone could do what we do, right? I think it takes a different type of an individual to get up in the morning and to know that in 2 weeks you may not get a paycheck. As a matter of fact, we're unemployed if you think about it,
Mhm.
right? So to get up and yes, we make great money, but that's because we hustle, right? So you really have to have thick skin to do what we do. To get up and say, I'm not guaranteeing a paycheck in 2 weeks.
Hey,
I
and you
have,
wake up early.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's your schedule like?
4. I get up at 4. It goes at 4. By the time I'm up, 4:15, 4:20.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
tell you, man.
I,
If he has your phone number, I've gotten calls from this guy early in the morning, and
I'm
I don't
like,
know if did you call me just to test me that
no,
one
no,
time?
no,
or
yeah.
like-
I was like, hey, what are you wearing? It's, my wife goes, who are you talking to? Don't worry about it.
By the way, he does ask you
Yeah.
that question. What are you
What are
wearing?
you wearing? You know,
And it's always a good time talking to you. But I like the fact that you said that. A lot of people don't respect that. They think that it's going to be easy, and it isn't. This isn't easy. It's not an easy game.
not everyone could do what. Honestly, not everyone could do what we do. Now, check this out. What we do is, it's simple, but it's not easy. What I mean by that, it's simple to go hit the doors. It's simple to pick up the phone and call someone. But when you start getting rejections and when things aren't going your way and you have files going this way and this way, it's not easy to deal with it. You know, so that But I mean, to me, it's just.
I mean, I was just doing some sort of other cold calling. I'll tell you that afterwards what I was doing, and it was interesting because you're calling agents,
Yeah,
and so agents know what you're saying.
yeah.
That's a little different game. It's
Yeah.
still the same. But I'll end it with this. Quick question I always ask everybody that I like to have fun. Rapid fire. One place you would like to visit.
Probably Greece, but I can't be on the plane that long. I think 5 hours the most that I could be on a plane.
Really?
But Greece, yeah.
Is it because yeah, how would you be in the damn airplane, bro?
I don't
Your guys
know.
would be
I
pacing up
went,
and down, huh?
I went to Hawaii last year, and 5 hours was a long time. It was about 4 or 5 hours to be on the plane. It was a long time.
Were you screaming at people already, bro?
Nah, bro. I was just,
I can
couldn't deal with
imagine.
it. Yeah,
I can
bothering
imagine your ass in the
daughter,
plane,
yeah.
bro, up and down.
No, I was just, it was, I was so impatient, man. I couldn't, it was just,
So Greece,
yeah, that's probably what.
you're probably gonna have to have a lot of tequila shots and.
Well, they say if you go that lot, so they say they get a late flight where you could sleep most of the time.
Will you be able to sleep?
I think you would have to go first class. Yeah, it's something like that. I would. If it's a 2-3 hour flight, I just like if I go to Kabul, you go you down. But I think if I go something like that, I would have to go first class, and I would have to just probably fall asleep and because you
Wake
can't
up.
fall asleep in those seats, dude, when you're going that.
Yeah.
know.
If you had to meet someone, past or present, even in your own family, who would that be?
I don't know. I'm not. I know people will probably say Kobe, a celebrity, but to me, I'm not really too.
No, it could be anyone.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, probably bite him to smack him. Maybe I don't know.
This guy.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Gavin Newsom.
Why would you want to slap the guy, man? He's human.
come
Come
on,
on.
bro.
I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, it's like.
But
I mean,
anybody like anyone.
I don't know.
Some people have actually said their grandparents. They never met them.
You know what? But yeah, I mean, probably yeah. Also my dad. I knew my dad, but not but not no one really that I. No one really that I could just like.
Probably nobody
Believe it or
wants to
not.
meet you either, bro.
I know.
That's
like,
probably what
fuck.
it is, bro.
Maybe 100 years from now and shit.
Favorite musician or band?
Favorite musician or band?
Maybe, I don't know, rapper, anybody.
Rapper. Well, I mean, in our era as we grew up, always Tupac, right? I think
Tupac?
Tupac. Band probably Blue October.
All right.
Yeah.
Tupac or Biggie?
Pac, man.
Pac?
Yeah.
All right. I don't see you as a Boyz II Man guy. Are you?
No, I like him though. That was back then when.
What about NSYNC? I had to go there with you.
Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys. I like. Hey, you say, all right, Backstreet Boys. All right, Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
Coke, and I'm talking about the drink. But I was having Pepsi. If it's cherry Pepsi. Cherry
Really?
Pepsi. But oh, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Cherry Pepsi's freaking bomb.
So you like the
It's-
Dr.
it's
Pepper
good.
guy?
I used to like Dr. Pepper. I like root beer better.
All right.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper. I like, but yeah. Tequila or mezcal? Mezcal.
You're a mezcal guy.
Oh, I love it, dude.
Yeah, you're a mezcal guy. I
Yeah.
realize. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This, believe me, he's a mezcal guy.
Yeah. But I think,
I'm still freaking my highness, pal. Dude, I can't have a serious conversation with you for a full hour because
you said in and out. You were kind of like winking at me, bro. I was like, what kind of? You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what? No wonder you did. And I was thinking about that last night. We called me up, dude. No wonder. May you didn't ask me. April you didn't ask me. You asked every person, and then all of a sudden I'm the first.
No,
interview
no,
for
no.
June.
Hold on. Give me a second.
June. Why
Hell
June?
no. I asked you about 2 months ago, and you flaked.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you know, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, because I couldn't. Yeah,
no.
'cause- yeah.
BS aside, no, I'm gonna be honest with you. That same day where you were, we were filming several people, and you were like in the top, and you
Yeah.
just couldn't make it. But,
Yeah.
you know, we circled back, and I'm glad you came back because, you know, I think now people know what we're doing,
Yeah.
and it's more like okay, because at the beginning we were asking like, well, what are you guys really doing? Now they're starting to see what we're doing. And so I'm just glad you came on because, but no, you were one of the first guys that we asked, like, hey, man, we couldn't make it, but I'm glad you made it out because, you know, it is a drive for you. It is a drive to come out
Yeah.
here. But nah, man, thank you for coming out here, man, and, you know, enjoying it. And again, where can they find you? Social media handles, where can they find you at?
Oh, Joe Manjarrez. I mean, just look up Joe Manjarrez. There's not many, and just the Manjarrez group, and that's it, really.
That's what's up, man. So, hey, give him a follow. Joe Manjarrez, one of the best out here in the industry. And thanks again for coming on by, man.